What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Grind Force Gaming. Nova here, and again, we have the famous Grind Force Gaming team member DatSkat here to chat with me about now the best Flame Faction team. DatSkat, what's going on?
Yeah, so if we're talking about Flame Faction, I think the four fighters that you're going to want to build are going to be Dulcim, Fei Long, Sea Viper, and Dudley for a tank out front.
Okay.
And then, yeah, and then I think the alternatives that you would swap in would be either Decapre or Adon.
Okay.
And I think for the combo you would run with that aforementioned team would be Sea Viper, Fei Long, Sea Viper again, and then Dulcim with his massive, awesome, one of the coolest moves in the entire game,
He does a
burn
lot of
AoE.
damage with that
It's the
attack.
coolest.
It's crazy. And
Yeah.
with Sea Viper, you're getting the back line hit. You're getting some good AoE on her second skill, but on Fei Long's first skill, you're getting flame vulnerability.
Yep.
Which is really nice considering this is the basis of this team. And I think that's a really great skill cycle to use. I would definitely use that as well. And I think in the instance that you would maybe want to use Decapre or you'd want to use Adon instead, Adon and Dudley work very well together. You could just swap him in for Fei Long, and then you would just put Fei Long into the assist position because his fighting spirit increases the damage that everyone takes, all flame related damage, and burn I think as well. I don't quite recall if it's burn and flame. But either way,
It's you want him in there.
It's what he's doing. So you can throw him into the assist. You can put, whoever else you want into the assist. I'm not going to get into the fighting spirits. It would take too long for this video to do that. But this would also be a great idea for you to use, in which case you could still use Sea Viper first. You could use Adon, then you could use Sea Viper, and then you could use Dulcim. But ideally with Adon, you are alternating his first and second skill to do the most damage. So you might want to do, instead of like on your first cycle through, maybe do Dudley, then do Adon, and then do Dulcim. And then on your second run through, you'd swap it, and then you'd use Adon's first skill, and then Sea Viper, and then Dulcim again, just to get the best output.
Yeah, it just varies up your attack, and with Adon you get that grave injury. I think it's grave injury, which inflicts more bleed and stuff. So yeah, cycling his first and second skill, using it in consecutive combos, is a great idea. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Adon's really good. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him in the early and mid game, but I think actually, DatSkat, you were talking about this earlier. The release of Vega, I think, really kind of brings some light to Adon.
100%. And that's the other thing too. Like if you're deciding, okay, who should I build within Flame? Just because Adon doesn't necessarily fit in what you're trying to do in the early and mid game, in the late game, if you have Vega and you're running Adon, that's a win. So I would choose these 6 fighters over all the other fighters with regard to a mono Flame team.
Right. I would like to say though, you can change up the skills a little bit, but I think that this setup is like maybe it might just be the best for Flame. But it's kind of funny because the best Flame fighters are actually the legendary fighters that have been released. I know that they're not like attainable to everyone. I think Fashion Blanca is eventually attainable to everyone just by logging in.
Yes.
But Flame Chun-Li is always going to be someone that you're gonna have to pay for. So,
yes.
I mean, ideally, you are using these 2 fighters. I use them when I use a Flame team, but early and late game or early and mid game, and even late game, if you're just not going to throw any money in, then it's just those are fighters that you're just not going to get.
Yeah, Vega is the same way. Like
right.
You can get them through divination, but it's again with those Master or Infernal factions, you have to decide. Okay, do I want to spend the gems over an amount of time?
Right. Time basically is the biggest investment in that circumstance.
Yeah, basically you're committing to something, and if you don't take them all the way, then you shouldn't commit to them in the first place.
Yeah, precisely. I totally agree. Yeah. It's one of those things like you can get these Master and Infernal factions free to play, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a lot of time.
A lot.
So it's just a good idea to focus on what you have quick and easy access to, and that's just going to be the standard faction. And there's nothing wrong with that. They are very good. Like, I'm using this lineup right now to kind of play through this a bit, and you'll see my Dudley's A+, my Fei Long's A+. I'm really just counting on trying to beat this with Dulcim and Viper, basically.
Yeah, and
pretty well.
that's not a bad thing because Dulcim is a powerhouse. Out of all of these fighters, if I had to pick 2 to build, I would pick Dulcim first and Sea Viper second. I think those are the marquee flame faction heroes that we have currently for sure.
I totally agree. The one issue with this team is there's not really a lot of like healing going on within the team. You're really
I think there's
kind of
zero healing going on.
Yeah, on your X moves. So if I were just playing this differently, like I didn't change these X moves because it's just whatever. That's not the point of this video, but you might want to have things swapped so you're getting more healing in. And then maybe you could just throw in a little additional burn. But yeah. Well, guys, I think that's going to cover it for this video. Hopefully this helps you out, and we will see you guys very soon. We're going to do a lot more videos like this. Stay tuned for the next ones.
Take care.